Hey, good morning. Welcome to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us. 844-236-6010 is our number, as always, on The Bright Side. And as always, we love hearing from you. If you have questions, comments, success stories you'd like to share, or if you just want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be speaking with Lawrence Bradley at the bottom of the hour. Lawrence is a marriage and family therapist and the author of a really cool book called I Am a Child of God, about why people struggle with negative emotions like anxiety, depression, mood dysregulation, emptiness, etc. We'll talk to Lawrence Bradley at the bottom of the hour. We'll get your calls in our next segment, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase longevity products, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. Or you can call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. And if you are an entrepreneur, or if you'd like to have a home-based business, or if you want to make some spare change, or if you like the world of nutrition and want to help people understand how to use nutritional supplements for their health and longevity, the longevity business opportunity is something that you want to look into, and we are looking for business builders. Call 866-735-2470 for more info, or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number, and we'll be talking to Lawrence Bradley at the bottom of the hour about his book, I Am a Child of God, Healthy Self-Esteem, A Matter of Belief, and we'll get your calls in our next segment. We've been talking about the incredible beta-glucan. I personally have been working with beta-glucan as a skincare formulator. Beta-glucan has a reputation for being an immune booster, and it really is an immune booster. It also is well known as a cholesterol-lowering substance for folks who want to lower blood cholesterol or help lower blood fats. And in skincare, it's got an interesting anti-aging properties. It has an ability to turn on the cells that make collagen and high hyaluronic acid, the cells called fibroblasts that live in the bottom of the skin. That's really the holy grail of skincare product targets. Skincare products can only work if they hit their targets. In fact, that's one of the reasons why skincare products don't work, is because they don't hit targets. They just sit on the surface of the skin. If you want to have a skincare product that works, you've got to hit a target, and that target has to be something that's living, like a cell. It's very shocking how few skincare products are formulated to hit that target, to hit the cell. That's why I formulated my Truth Treatments, because I saw that if you're going to have a skincare product that makes a change in the skin, you've got to be at the level of the cell. You've got to you have to have ingredients, number one, that can hit the target of the cell, that is the receptors of the cell, and number two, you got to be able to get down into the cell. You've got to get to where the cell lives. Beta-glucan is so perfect because there are receptors on cells specifically for beta-glucan. That's what makes it such an ideal skin care ingredient, especially for wound healing, but also for anti-aging. Of course, beta-glucan is found throughout nature. It's found in cereal grains. It's found in yeast and fungus, and of course in mushrooms. And we've been talking about mushrooms, or at least we started talking about mushrooms yesterday. Mushrooms are fungi, which is a kingdom. There's the bacterial kingdom. There's the plant kingdom. There's the mineral kingdom. There's the animal kingdom. And there is the fungal kingdom. Other members of the fungal kingdom include molds and mildews and yeast. Mushrooms are, believe it or not, the most advanced creatures, and boy, are they advanced. They're the most advanced creatures of the fungal kingdom. And man, are they advanced. There's so many amazing, amazing things about mushrooms. If you're interested in learning about mushrooms, there's a really cool book by one of the fathers of mushroom chemistry, a guy named Paul Stamets, S-T-A-M-E-T-S, and his book is called, one of his books is Fantastic Fungi. Actually, it's not, he just edited the book. It's got a bunch of essays in it. It's super cool. It's got great pictures in it. Just a really, really neat book. Fantastic Fungi by Paul Stamets. Paul Stamets has a TED talk, actually, where he talks about all the amazing things that are associated with mushrooms. Mushrooms may look simple, but in actuality, there's a lot of complexity in a mushroom. I think of them as a cross between an animal and a plant. And that's what makes mushrooms so ideal for vegetarians. Mushrooms contain nutritional value that is sort of a cross between an animal and a plant. So for vegetarians who are going to be deficient, or vegans probably, who are going to be deficient, vegetarians can eat eggs, I suppose, and dairy, so they're going to get some of these nutrients. But there are nutrients that are found only in animal foods or animal-produced foods, like vitamins A and vitamins D, vitamins A and D. And mushrooms are good sources of both. Mushrooms are also good sources of protein. That's why they make mushroom steaks. There's millions of species of mushrooms. Probably, 3 million species of mushrooms, something like that. Just incredible variety. And many of them are tasty, many of them are delicious, a lot of them are deadly, and some of them are psychedelic. And very interestingly, some of these psychedelic or magical mushrooms, which have a reputation for being kind of trippy and hippy-dippy, actually have some interesting therapeutic properties, these psychedelic mushrooms. And there are states and cities and municipalities that are beginning to legalize psychedelic mushrooms because it's being recognized that these psychedelic mushrooms have interesting mental health benefits. For people who are depressed, for people who are dealing with PTSD, for people who are dealing with terminal cancer issues. It's really been interesting what's been happening in the last year or so, or at an accelerated pace this year, but really in the last few years, how so-called drugs like marijuana and psychedelic mushrooms and MDMA are now being recognized for their therapeutic properties. Who would have believed 10 years ago that mushrooms would be legalized? That heroin would be legalized. In Oregon, heroin is now legalized. In fact, I think all drugs in Oregon, all illegal drugs have now been legalized. Marijuana is legalized everywhere. Who would have believed that would have happened 10 years ago? Hope everybody out there is recognizing how dramatically the world is changing, permanently changing, not just temporary. What's happened in the last year may be shocking, and it may be freaking people out, but it's really the manifestation of a dramatic change that's occurring, and it may not be all bad. Anyway, these psychedelic mushrooms and tasty mushrooms and poisonous mushrooms, they all function as nature's digestive system. They secrete enzymes that decompose leaves and needles and wood and pine needles, in the forest kind of thing, various forest litter. If you go into the forest, you'll see like mulch at the bottom of on the ground, and a lot of that mulch is created from decomposing leaves and wood and various forest litter, and all created actually by enzymes that are secreted out of mushrooms. In fact, mushrooms can decompose anything that has carbon in, including cardboard and fabrics and denim jeans and leather shoes. In this way, they play a critical role in the ecosystem by helping recycle nutrients and carbon back into the soil. All kinds of amazing things about mushrooms. Get the book Fantastic Fungi if you find this kind of stuff kind of interesting. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back on the bright side right after this. Are back on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number. Lines are open, and we'll get your calls in just a moment. Lawrence Bradley will be with us. He's the author of 2 books, and one is I Am a Child of God, Healthy Esteem, A Matter of Belief, and his second book is The Greatest in the Kingdom. We're going to talk about moods and self-esteem and negative emotions. He's also been researching epigenetics and quantum physics and its relationship to emotions. We'll talk to Lawrence Bradley at the bottom of the hour. We'll get your calls here momentarily. All right, so these fantastic fungi, as Paul Stamets calls them, can actually have very important immune-boosting properties. Reading now from an article in the journal Immunology, can medicinal mushrooms have therapeutic effects against COVID-19 and its pneumatic superinfection and complicating inflammation? Well, yes, they can. Mushrooms are powerfully anti-inflammatory. They're immune boosters. It's not just the beta-glucan either. And by the way, beta-glucan is also a powerful immune booster. And restart your life, beta-glucan is a great way to prophylactically protect yourself from COVID-19, and actually even minimize its effects if you were to get infected. Why aren't we giving everybody? Why isn't every American getting medicinal mushrooms? Why is every American getting a vaccine? Unbelievable what's going on with the vaccine. Dr. Judy Mikovits was with us yesterday. We didn't even scratch the surface of all the problems associated with vaccination. Can you believe how the drumbeat, the consensus, the intense pounding of information about how we need to be vaccinated, how everybody needs to get on a vaccine? Nobody's talking about taking vitamin C. We don't hear about vitamin D. We don't hear about sun lamps. We don't hear about mushrooms. We don't hear about laying off the McDonald's. You know, obesity is one of the major risk factors for COVID-19. Major risk factor for all immune problems, from Science Daily just today. High-fat diet allows cancer cells to outcompete immune cells. Obesity impairs immune cell function and accelerates tumor growth. It just came out today. All kinds of strategies and mechanisms we have at our disposal without having to interact with the medical model for our health, for our longevity, and to protect ourselves from any kind of infections that happen to be floating around in the environment. We need to learn to take care of our own health business, not to depend on health authorities, to be our own health authorities. That's what the bright side is all about. Be our own health authorities. I don't even want to be anybody's authority. This is about helping us all as individuals take care of our business. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Let's go to Idaho and say good morning to our friend Shauna. What's up, Shauna? Good morning.
Good morning, Ben. Woohoo!
How you doing?
Great. I loved your one with Judy yesterday. That was great. It
Was
brought
that great?
up, I remember, my daughters, I have twin daughters. They were like 12 or 13, and one of the girls that came to my daycare had just gotten her chickenpox vaccine. And I don't vaccinate my kids. But anyways, she came, and my one twin broke out with shingles. The next year, the same time, while this girl was still in my daycare, the other twin broke out with shingles. They'd already had their chickenpox when they were little. So I thought, oh, my gosh, that shot did change things. And that was fun to hear her talk about that.
The stuff that's in the vaccine. What'd you think about the idea that the flu vaccine? I didn't quite. I'm going to have her back on because I didn't quite.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to believe that, but that's one sharp lady. Even though she's been so demonized in the press and on the internet, it's crazy. But she said that the COVID-19 infection or the COVID-19 virus can be is in the flu vaccine and can get into your body through the flu vaccine. Isn't that crazy?
Well, Ivor Cummings said the same thing. If you've had the flu, that you would have some antibodies to it, so you won't get as bad. But then he didn't go into the inflammation and stuff. I got her book on Audible after yesterday. That was
which one, Plague or Plague? Which book did you get?
The Plague Corrupts and Plague of Corruption. I think I need to get the other one too. Do
you know something really interesting? I was just reading today how miraculously there's like nobody getting the flu this year.
Exactly. Yeah.
The incidence of flu is down dramatically. I wonder why that is. That's amazing.
Well,
People don't seem to be getting the flu anymore. They're all getting COVID. They're not getting the flu. How interesting.
Yeah. I had two people in my area that just died from it, but the lady had multiple sclerosis, and her husband had the same thing.
Where was she when she died?
Hello?
Where was she when she died?
In a nursing home.
Really?
In a nursing home. Yeah.
But she didn't die in the nursing home. I don't think she died in the nursing home, did she? Wasn't she in a hospital?
I don't know.
She was in a hospital.
Probably.
In the hospital, your risks of dying of errors or we don't know what's going on in a hospital. And I'm not by the way, I got to be clear here. I'm not beating up on hospitals or on doctors. Doctors are good people for the most part. Every profession has its bad eggs, but doctors are good people. They're there. They want to alleviate suffering. But just because a doctor says something doesn't make it gospel, number one. And unless a doctor is doing a lot of research and they're studying, spending a lot of time studying, they don't necessarily know things about how the body works from a biochemical perspective. They're not biochemists.
Exactly. Like Judy said, I love that. I have a friend that has two doctors, in her thing, and we've been close friends forever. She won't talk to me now because I said I don't believe in the mask. To me, that's covering up God's immune system, and it's saying I don't trust God. And she won't talk to me now because she says, no, the doctors have proven. And I'm like, I would like to know more where Judy's book. I tried to find it, and you can't find it. So
the mask, the book about the masks?
Yeah.
The book about, you know what? I looked for it yesterday. It's not on Amazon, I don't think, but I looked for it. I found it on Barnes & Noble. I actually bought it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about it when I get it. Hopefully, I hope I get it. I don't know, because a lot of these books are being censored. You know, there's a book out by Bruce Fife. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard of Bruce Fife, F-I-F-E, called... he has a book called Plandemic, where he has a lot of really good information, and you can't get that on Amazon either. I bought it off Amazon, and then look at Barnes & Noble. A lot of things that you can't get on Amazon, you can get on Barnes & Noble. But why don't you, do you have anything else you want to say? I'm going to run out of time here. I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, you're great. I wanted to know about those masks. I will look at Barnes & Noble, and I just love you. Thank you for all your info, the things you're doing. Keep marching, and we're following.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. All right, that's awesome.
Okay,
thank you so much, Sean.
bye.
Yeah. So Bruce Fife, F-I-F-E, his book. It's a really cute, it's a really cool little book. It's only about 100 pages or so, but he's got a lot of great information, statistics. And if you ever want to talk to anybody about if a believer, if you will, somebody who believes in what's going on here and believes the news and believes what they hear on the internet or from the mainstream medical model, this book, it really goes into a lot of detail with a lot of numbers and a lot of statistics. And it's a really good book, and it's very easy to read. It's a very, very small book. It's called Plandemic. And it's by a guy named Bruce Fife, who's written a lot of interesting alternative health books. And then Judy Mikovits' book about the masks, you can get that on barnesandnoble.com. All right, we are going to talk to Lawrence Bradley in our next segment. His book is I Am a Child of God. It's about self-esteem and the importance of self-esteem and the importance of belief for helping folks deal with negative emotions like anxiety, depression, mood dysregulation, and emptiness. We'll be back on the bright side with Lawrence Bradley right after this. All right, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, and 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive pages at benfuchsarchives.com. Thank you to Peter in the UK for setting that one up, and also Ben Fuchs, or also brightsideben.com. And then you can purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. You can also call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 for more information, or to sign up to join the Brightside Ben team for a one-time $30 fee. You can be in business for yourself and start a home-based business. You can also click on the Join the Team link on our websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And please don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products, all formulated in my compounding pharmacy for wound healing. Wound healing equals beauty. And our Truth Skin Health products are all available at truthtreatments.com. Truthtreatments.com. We got some holiday specials up. And you can also take a look at our 1,500 4- and 5-star reviews at truthreviewed.com. Truthtreatments.com for our skin health products, and truthreviewed.com for our 4- and 5-star reviews. All right, I'm looking forward to speaking to our guest today. Lawrence Bradley is a marriage and family therapist and the author of 2 books. We're going to talk about his book today, I Am a Child of God, Healthy Esteem, A Matter of Belief. Lawrence has got his undergraduate degree at California State University in psychology. He also has a master's degree in marriage and family therapy from Hope International University. His work involves helping people dismiss any distortions found in their belief systems, and then to develop a very healthy and truthful view of themselves. Please welcome to the bright side, Lawrence Bradley. Hey, Lawrence.
Ben, hey, thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for doing what you're doing. And I was telling you earlier, I've been trying to write a book for a long time, and you just motivated to put your passion and your beliefs and your desire to help humanity into a 366-page book, and that is super duper impressive. So let's talk a little bit about this idea of self-esteem. It seems kind of airy-fairy, but it's not. It's really very serious stuff, and I think you would agree with me. The world is in this really bad position because of the poor self-esteem of individuals. Do you agree with that?
Very much so. And that is really like the core of what I teach. I have people understand very clearly what self-esteem is, I also have them understand what self-esteem is not. And what you will find is that in the general population, probably about 95% of people confuse self-esteem with something they should never confuse it with, which is what I call their inherent worth. And that really becomes the basis of their struggle, because they always think that their worth is in jeopardy. And so they keep trying to prove their worth and exhausting themselves as a result. And the truth is that we did not come here to mortality to prove worth. We came here to mortality with our worth. There's nothing to prove there. Self-esteem, really, in its very basic idea, is that we here on this earth as humans, we're trying to learn how to take better care of ourselves in some very specific areas, like taking care of ourselves physically, being able to provide for our own food, clothing, and shelter. You and Joel Wallach I've listened to you guys for years now about the importance of learning how to take care of your physical body, because if you take really good care of it, man, life just gets really much better. We also have to learn how to take care of ourselves mentally. And what that means is, what is that internal dialogue that's going on? Is it one that is filled with truth? Is it one that's filled with falsehoods? We have to learn how to take care of ourselves socially, spiritually, emotionally, and intellectually. And when we are improving in each of those areas, then our confidence is rising, and it's those areas and nothing else is what our self-esteem is learning how to take good care of ourselves in those 6 designated areas. It's not worth. It's just you're growing in confidence, which I think is interesting, because Ben, I know you've looked at all the research. I know that you looked at my book, and you realize, that I have read some of from the big giants in epigenetics, even guys like your friend Joel Wallach or Bruce Lipton or Joe Dispenza or Deepak Chopra and all these guys like that. And I really appreciate all their background and everything that they have done. But when I looked at what they were trying to have us understand, is that they literally have come out and said that we are eternal beings that are in the process of development. And when you understand the science of quantum, well, you don't even argue with that. You just go, that makes total sense, because there's never been a time that we have not existed. There will never be a time where we will go out of existence. That's the very nature of the reality of the universe. And so, for whatever reason, and Joe Dispenza kind of put it this way, he says, but this is the first time in your eternal development that you have acquired a physical body. And so the physical body is part of a process whereby we continue to grow and develop. So here in mortality, we have a thing called self-esteem. And self-esteem is really just this one thing. It's the measure of the confidence we're experiencing and how well we're taking care of ourselves. But each of us are empowered to improve self-esteem or improve that confidence anytime we decide to. Self-esteem, though, is not worth. They're two different things.
Where does parenting come into this?
Oh, my gosh. So, I know that you realize that we're made of cells. Approximate number, 70 to 100 trillion cells, okay? And those cells are actually intelligent, and they're conscious, and they're aware. And these cells are doing something, and I tell everyone, you're never going to get your cells stop doing this, because this is just what they do. They absorb experience and environment. And a big piece of development, especially for us, how we're going to go live in life and are we going to do well, is largely formed in the very early years of our development, including in utero. Like when you're developing inside of mom, that is a very important time. And up to about the age of 7 or 8, most of what we come to believe about ourselves has already been set in. And then that belief, whatever that belief is now going to continue to inform us and, if you will, shape our destiny. And so just to give you an example about parenting, if I'm growing up in a home where both my parents are incredibly busy and they don't have much time for me, they don't get down and play Legos with me, they don't attend my events, they don't read to me, they're largely just absent. I see them, but they're not really involved in my life. The question is what does a child begin to believe about themselves based upon that interaction? So they may begin to believe that they just don't matter, that they're not that important. And that belief then becomes formed and stored as a biological reality inside their cells, and then that becomes their bearings for life, as I'm not important, I don't matter. And so pretty much life experience then keeps getting, if you will, filtered in through that early on template. If I'm growing up in a home where if I am being paid attention to, it's only when I'm doing something wrong, well, you begin to realize the type of belief a child would gain from that type of experience. And then, of course, if we flip it, if I'm growing up in a home where I'm being stimulated, I'm being taken care of, time is being spent with me, I'm being taught moral reasoning, all those kinds of things are going to create a template or a belief that's going to allow me to be very successful in life.
So parents are epigenetic factors in a way, which is kind of interesting. I want to talk about
they're genetic engineers, yes.
They're genetic engineers. You quote me in the book, and I want to talk a little bit about that idea about it. We'll talk about this idea about becoming a giraffe when we come back. Okay? We're back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Lawrence Bradley about his book, I Am a Child of God. Lawrence, before we went to break, we were talking about this idea of, as you say, parents being genetic engineers, controlling the genes. And that's such a powerful notion. And I wonder how much of the world is messed up because of just simply bad parenting skills. But we're not really doomed. Just because our genes are a certain way, they're modifiable. And I love that little piece in your book where you talk about that conversation we had about how we'll never be a giraffe, but theoretically we could be. So our genes are modifiable. What can we do? What can we do if we are the victims of bad parenting? And so many of us are. And God love our parents; they were the victims of bad parenting themselves, the curse of the generations. What can we do to actually change the situation?
Well, so everything that's occurring in our body is occurring as a result of energy. It's very important people understand quantum science because quantum science is having us understand the truth and reality of our existence. Well, our minds are part of the quantum field of energy that exists in this universe. There is nothing that comes into existence without energy influencing matter as organization. And our cells, we as humans, are made of matter, including the beliefs that get formed and stored within our cells are also made of matter. And so if a person is going to somehow change the ongoing, what I call the programmed, the memorized self, the procedural self, if they're sick and tired of the negative patterns of their life, then they have to learn how to use their mind correctly to begin to slow things down and actually begin to see about how their mind is literally influencing either having them stay stuck in life, right, or to use their mind to be able to see things so clearly that they can finally begin to see and reject the things that are false about themselves. I will give you, and I know you've read the book, so there's one idea in here about us becoming helpless people. There are a ton of mortals walking around here believing that they're victims to life, that they're helpless, that they're powerless. And I had this one young lady. I received her in January of 2019. She was 18 years old. She was a senior in high school, needing to graduate in May, and she was a year and a half behind in school. She had not done her junior year, and she had not done that first half of her senior year. And when we did the assignment, and her mind could finally see that she was not helpless, I asked her the question, so are you helpless or are you capable? And she says, I'm capable. But then she became very emotional and began to cry. And I said, Maddie, what's going on? And this is what she said, I'm free. Literally, those were the words that came out of her mouth.
Wow.
And that girl completed 18 months of schooling and got all of her classes done, and she graduated in May. But she had been holding on to a completely false idea about herself. Yeah. Yeah,
it's our beliefs that hold us and that imprison us. It's like we're imprisoned based on our thoughts and our beliefs about ourselves.
Yeah, so what has epigenetics said? Our cells are programmable. Folks, you have no idea how realistic that is. Yeah. When you think about programming, you think of a computer. A computer has a hardware drive, and that hardware drive runs everything. But we install software programs, and the hard drive drives the software programs. Well, that's our body. Our cells are the hardware, and our mindset is what is programming the software. And so that software can get stored and literally encoded. When you think about technology, you think about memory space, for example. Go buy a brand new Xbox, and that's a terabyte of memory space, which is incredible.
Trillions
you need that
of
much
bits.
memory to run something that well. Well, in just 1 gram of our DNA is a billion terabytes of memory space.
Is that crazy?
It is
unbelievable.
crazy.
How many?
But the question
is
is what's in that memory, right?
You ever do the thing where you compare how much memory is in a little piece of DNA, a strand of DNA, compared to the Library of Congress books? It's like billions of books.
Well, it is ridiculous, and Microsoft actually proved that because they're the ones with the University of Washington who developed the synthetic DNA, and they literally encode it on a surface area no larger than the pinpoint of a pencil lead, like really, really small. They encoded over 100,000 books and several music videos, and they were able to play that all back on a monitor. It's crazy, right?
Come on, that's unbelievable. Praise God. That just blows you away when you think about it. You just sit for a few seconds and contemplate what we are.
There you go. And the point is that we go through life, most of us, with a very unhealthy mindset that has become so well learned and so well programmed that we can't seem to get beyond ourselves. And we keep making, literally, we get up and we experience the same feelings, the same day, the same mindset, the blah. We're just literally kind of surviving in life.
Yeah.
And that's because we don't realize is that through our already life experience, we've already programmed ourselves to see ourselves so inaccurately.
Yeah.
That we just keep having the same struggles over and over and over again. Well, but the science allows us to actually overcome all that. That's the reason why I'm so excited that I'm on the phone with you today, is because we literally are such powerful beings that we can change the programming.
It says you're gods in the Bible. It says it right in the Bible. That we're gods, right? And they don't waste words in there. But you raised an interesting point. You said, we're stuck in this loop, kind of, and we have to literally pick ourselves up by our own bootstraps, if I could use that metaphor. Because once you're in the loop, you can't get out of it unless you input some energy from some outside source. How do you do that?
Okay, so in most of the books being touted out there, they talk about things like mindfulness or meditation or self-affirmations and so forth and so on. Ben, I went a completely different direction, and here was the reason why. When I found out that the epigeneticist said that the beliefs that we form about ourselves are actually learned, Ben, I knew what learning was. Learning is association, and the mindset is making a lot of different associations. So the thoughts that we say to ourselves. So let me give you an example. If a person keeps going around saying to themselves, "I'm not good enough," the association they begin to make with that may be, my acceptance is conditional. My parents will never accept me until I become exactly what they want me to become. So I'm not good enough. Acceptance is conditional. The question is what becomes associated with that are negative emotions. And we don't like negative emotions, and so we associate a behavior that, if you will, has us manage the negative emotions. So, for example, and just as an example, maybe somebody begins to feel sad and depressed, and so they withdraw a lot. So if they're continually making the same associations over and over and over and over and over again, well, that is now actually formed in their implicit memory. And I realized if somebody was going to overcome whatever that false belief was, they had to begin to go and observe all those associations so that they could see for themselves whether or not what they had come to learn about themselves was even real or not. And here's the whole key. You said we're gods. The scriptures say that we're gods, and this is what I want everyone to understand. Humans are intelligent beings, and I have a very specific definition for intelligence. Intelligence isn't about acquiring knowledge. Intelligence is about being able, in the acquiring of knowledge, to be able to see things that are real and true, and also be able to discern things that are false. And intelligent beings, actually, they discover truth and they begin to organize their life around it. So I'm going to make a comment. I want everyone out there to hear this. Everyone that's listening to this radio show, You are living in a universe where truth is already embedded in it. And there is not a human, not one, who is ever inventing any new truth. They're just simply discovering it.
Wow.
That becomes our reality. And the more truth we discover and the more we organize our life around the truth. And by the way, our DNA code, if you're really paying attention, is already telling us the truth of who we are. You know, when you and Joel talk about nutrition, you actually understand the cells can discern correct information from incorrect information.
That's what nutrients
from a nutritional
are.
Basis.
Yeah, that's what
exactly
nutrients
right.
are. They're correct information.
But your cells can also discern, you ready?
Yeah.
Correct information or correct information through your mindset.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't care if it's from a nutritional basis. You're programming your cells to either to thrive and do very, very well, or you're programming your cells from a nutritional basis to die, literally.
Good ideas as good nutrition, and bad ideas as fake food, kind of fake nutrition. That's beautiful. Hey, Lawrence, that was awesome.
Simple as that.
Tell everybody your radio program, so if people want to listen.
So I do a radio show here locally in St. George. It's called Leave It to Larry, and you go to it's KZNU 1450 AM in St. George, Utah. You can listen to it online. But I also want to make sure people understand that they can go get my book, and they can also
I Am a Child of God. We're out of time, Lawrence. I Am a Child of God. It's on Amazon.com. I Am a Child of God. Highly recommend it. Thank you so much, Lawrence. Stay on the line if you would. I want to talk to you real quick. That's all the time we have for today. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to you all later, folks. Bye for now.